Hi, nice to meet you, I think. Well, it's the first time I stand in front of the camera instead of behind it. Well, let me know at the end of the video if you like this style of filming more than subtitles. Let me hear in a comment, not a dislike.
Interacting with the Gevi 2-in-1 coffee maker was very intuitive. I didn't feel the need to look up the user manual at all. Everything was clear and straightforward to use. The only thing I actually had to look up were the differences between the beginner mode and the master mode. Turns out, the beginner mode shows you some steps you need to check off if you're just getting started with the machine. This way, you'll be sure you don't miss any necessary steps before you start grinding or brewing your coffee. These steps remind you of things like setting your grind size and adding the coffee beans to the hopper, etc. Once you're used to the machine, you can easily switch this feature off. Also important, the color display feels responsive and there's no lag at all. Going into the Pour Coffee menu, you will find three options: Machine Recipes, My Recipes, and a Barista mode. The machine recipes are pre-programmed recipes where you can basically choose between grinding your own coffee or using a pre-ground coffee. It also gives you the option to use the internally built scales or your own. If you choose, for instance, the whole bean option, you can choose the total amount of cups you'd like to brew and the strength. Once you've confirmed it, you'll be guided by some easy to follow steps to start grinding your coffee. The Barista mode is more like a freehand mode. After choosing the type and amount of coffee, you can choose your preferred ratio and brew water temperature. Once the machine is up to temp, you can choose the flow rate, pause it to let the coffee steep or bloom, and at the same time you can check the data if you want some more information about your brew. When the desired ratio is reached, the Gevi stops automatically so you don't overshoot it. In my opinion, the My Recipes section is where you want to be at. Once you've gone through the process of weighing your coffee and grinding it, you get to the section right here. Here you can set the total amount of stages, and for each stage you can set the total amount of water and its pouring speed. coffee produced was surprisingly good. I mean, I never expect too much out of 2-in-1 or all-in-one kind of machines. But the coffee tasted well-rounded and had a lot of sweetness in it. It lacked only a bit in complexity, but I wasn't expecting the grinder of the Gevi to perform like a high-end one. I mean, the Niche Zero alone costs about as much as this whole machine. The machine itself feels solidly built, and it's got a nice heft to it. You can see that they gave it some good thought about its design. It came with a brush and a coffee scoop, which are nicely stored in the lid of the hopper. The carafe has a sleeve which is easily removed for cleaning. The metal filter that comes with the Gevi filters out almost all fines and leaves you with a nice and clean cup. Dialing in the grind was straightforward and was easy to adjust to bring out some desired flavors. One of the biggest annoyances when grinding is coffee flying everywhere and sticking to every surface due to static. My experience with this grinder is that it did a pretty good job at removing static from the coffee. Cleaning the burrs was very simple as well. It was a matter of removing the outer rings and you had full access to the chamber. Once you're done cleaning and you put everything back, you won't lose any of your settings or calibration. Now, unfortunately, due to time restrictions caused by delays with the delivery of the machine, I wasn't able to fully test its performance for making espresso, so I kept my review purely on pour-over coffee. One of the things I focused on a lot was its accuracy. I tested the Gevi by doing several dry runs. I set it for a certain amount of water to be distributed and compared the results of the machine's water output by weighing it on a different scale. The results were quite good, a difference of 3% or less. Since this is a beta model, it of course came with some flaws which will be polished out for the release model. The responsiveness of the scales, for instance, were a bit slow and its resolution was at 0.5 of a gram, and it lacked a few helpful options in the menu. But the team at Gevi indicated that the launch model won't have these issues. That's the hard part about this review. This isn't the final product, but from what I've seen so far, I can say that I like what I see and taste it. The only thing I personally wish they would have done is giving me the option to control the rotational speed of the pouring spouts. This is particularly helpful when blooming a small amount of coffee and you want to make sure all the coffee gets saturated with water. Playing with this machine was a lot of fun. I want to thank the guys at Gevi for sending one out for me to test and review. I will also post a link in the description down below for their Indiegogo page where you can order one if you like. And to you guys, thank you for following my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Hit the like. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comments down below. Hope to see you in the next video. Ciao.